Are you afraid of rejection? Are you afraid of getting hurt? Are you afraid of getting close to people?
Yes. So if you don't think that people like you, if you don't think that people are drawn to you, if you don't think that you're a good friend, you have an insecurity. And so reaching out once or twice feels like now you're impeding on somebody's space. What if they don't want me to talk to them? What if they think I'm being extra or annoying? And you have these intrusive, insecure thoughts.
Hey guys,
I'm Sarah.
I'm Kaitlyn.
And we are your best friends.
Yay! Today we're going to be talking about something that is very specific to us because we're best friends. How to get close friendships. This is for anyone.
How to make them.
How to make close friendships. This is for people who maybe a lot of your friendships just aren't that deep, or you constantly find yourself cycling through friendships. Maybe you hang out with a person for a few months and then they kind of fade away, and you never really have those deep, life-giving friendships. You're not sure if something's wrong with you or if it's them, or how to make those deep, cool friendships, not just people that you meet, hang out with for a little while, and then they're out of your life.
This is a real one because honestly, Kaitlyn and I have the friendship of anybody's dreams. But if you were to compare, that would be a waste of your time because it takes more effort and it takes more intention than you may think. A lot of us, we like to look at things and we compare because that's what happens in this day and age, right? We just have images. We don't know the truth behind it. So we think friendships are easy. We think relationships are easy. We think work and getting money is easy. But with every blessing we get, there's a responsibility tied to it. So don't even waste your time wishing you had what Kaitlyn and I have. We're going to give you the tools to make it yourself and to also be freed from the lies that you're believing, that either you suck at making friendships, that nobody wants to be your friend, that you don't have what it takes, that there's nobody good around you. We're going to talk about that. Actually, this video is coming at a good time. I just feel like lately we've been talking so much about how a solution to a lot of purposelessness, boredom, problems that we tend to fill up with a relationship with the opposite sex or other things. A big solution that God gave us is friendships, but not just friendships to hang out, but rather deep friendships to where I can tell Kaitlyn hey, I've really been struggling with this. And then 2 days later, I mess up where I was struggling. And then I tell her, a place where you can be so imperfect, mess up, and I can feel safe that she's not gonna leave the friendship. So I think this will be a beginner video to all of that because we probably could make so many more.
And as you were talking, I just thought to say, the purpose of these deep friendships is what you're saying. Friendships, they give us good purpose in life. People who love God and then have good friendships, that helps us experience the love of God when we have good friendships. And it helps show us what God's love looks like on a little imperfect scale. So friendships are so important. They add so much purpose to your life. And they are a solution to a lot of what you're saying. They're a solution to maybe you're just constantly going from next boyfriend to next boyfriend and you feel empty.
Or next girlfriend and next girlfriend.
Yeah, and you feel empty, and really what you're seeking is actually emotional intimacy with another person. Doesn't have to necessarily be of the opposite sex. Before we get into the actual advice, please subscribe to this amazing channel of over 1,000 best friends. We're so blessed. We love all of you. Every time we get a new subscriber, it just warms our hearts. So
we're normal people like you, okay? So we don't take for granted one person. One person is everything to us. So that's just why this subscribes mean a lot. And I know that it takes a little bit of work to support somebody. So it means a lot when you do that for us. And then our website, yourbestfriends.org, to just see why we have this YouTube channel. Because no, it is not just for the views and the fame.
Yep.
So the struggle that we're addressing specifically is for the person who is craving deep friendships.
Yeah, and I would say they kind of have my type of struggle where this is what I went through for a long time, where I just felt like there was something wrong with me, that I didn't have deep friendships. And a lot of the friends that I had were surface level, and I would cycle through friends a lot. Like you and I were always friends, but then I would go from group to group, and I saw you would always flourish and have these cool relationships, and I would compare to you, like, Sarah, how does Sarah do that? Like, she's just more likable than me, that she
must be just have something I don't.
She just has something that I don't. She's more lovable than me, I guess. Like, she's just one of those that makes friends good. So honestly, this video is for people who struggled like I did, and you have been giving me advice on this.
So cool. Okay, well then
real.
That's beautiful that we have a perfect guinea pig to look at and answer the problem.
I am the guinea pig.
Okay. Well then, to first talk about it is one thing, and you're very right. This is something that you struggled with. Which is so cool because all of us have struggles. So like it's so cool. I just love talking about our own like insecurities and stuff, not for the sake of like we're gonna stay there, but rather like we're all human. So the first thing I would say, and I've told this to Kaitlyn even recently, is don't assume they just have something that you don't. I said this right in the beginning of the video, but anything good in life takes effort. And I think that's the hardest thing for our generation, is that we're wanting the good things in life because we see them so immediately, and nobody's telling us that it takes and requires effort. And I think that actually sets you free when somebody tells you that supernatural results require supernatural effort. It takes the feeling weird out of the effort that you put in, because you're like, this is actually what it takes. First of all, that helps with Kaitlyn if she was comparing and looking at me, who's outgoing, who has these friend groups, and I keep these cool friends, and they're not just like regular people, they're also really cool. It's like, how does she have all these things? The first thing that would set her free is knowing it takes effort, and it wasn't an accident that I became friends with them.
I think most people who relate to this problem, you might feel like you're being extra pursuing people. Honestly, I would feel cringe like asking people to hang out first. When Sarah started to tell me the practical things that she would do to pursue friends, I think one example you gave me is texting them that you're thinking about them, asking them to hang out first, spending time on FaceTime with them. These were things that maybe I asked to hang out with them once or twice, but then I'm wondering why the relationship isn't flourishing. It's because pursuing a friendship, it's a lot more effort that honestly I was used to. For you that's struggling with deep friendships, you may be thinking that you're going after your friends, but you might just not be putting in as much work as you really either think you are, or that a friendship actually requires.
I think I know one root reason, and you can speak on this because this is about you. But one root reason that we've talked about a lot of the times for the people who feel like it's extra, it has to do with an insecurity in knowing your worth. So if you don't think that people like you, if you don't think that people are drawn to you, if you don't think that you're a good friend, you have an insecurity. And so reaching out once or twice feels like now you're impeding on somebody's space. What if they don't want me to talk to them? What if they like think I'm being extra or annoying? And you have these intrusive, insecure thoughts. And I'll say, I didn't get those kinds of thoughts. I assumed like, hey, I can add value. I had these thoughts of like, I just want to add value to your life. Let's hang out and stuff. And also because I had that secure vibe, I also didn't come across as desperate. And I think we've talked about that before, or somebody DM'd us.
We talked about that.
Somebody DM'd us about friendships, and we also said like, if you're constantly reaching out though, and they're not wanting to hang, there's a chance that you might be coming across as desperate, right? We all, maybe you're like this, but there are certain people who it's like, they'll text me over and over.
It's on the other extreme.
The extreme of like, you need to realize too, like people are busy and we want things to be natural as well. And you don't have to like beg somebody to hang out, because like that pressure is also really difficult. I mean, we all got our lives, but that's an extreme end of the spectrum. But when you're secure, you know, hey, I'm catching these vibes. This person, we got along when we met at this place, and I don't want this to die. So let me let them know that I'm thinking about them. Let me let them know that I appreciate the conversation. Let me do the extra things that not many people do. And that's what I do. But also the root of what you're saying tends to have to do with an insecurity, wondering if you're worth it or not. So real and so beautiful to get to the roots, because then we could also start asking God to like show us situations where we were insecure and that impeded on the ability to make a friendship. And then we invite God in, he shows us that. And then next time we don't believe the lie and we just like 3, 2, 1, like we have in our notes. You just 3, 2, 1, I'm going to send the text anyways. But that's because also you're doing it with God.
And I think the word impede is a really good word that will bring out if you are this type of person. You might not be at a point where you're saying, I'm insecure, that's why I don't have friends. You might just be thinking, well, this is just annoying. I keep going through friends. Like, why? Sometimes insecurity doesn't just look like you're literally like, nobody likes me in your room. Like, it can be very subconscious. And if you do feel extra or like you're impeding on somebody by texting them something nice or by asking them to hang out, especially when you have not been bombarding them, ask God to reveal to you the deep insecurity that's going on inside, because think about how much more you would reach out to people if you believed that they were really wanting to hear from you.
And if you believed that you were valuable and it would add value to their life.
Yeah, like think about that. If your perspective was that, I'm pretty sure I would text a lot more people, hey, I'm thinking about you, hey, let's hang out. If the deep insecurity is just that you're thinking that you're not going to add value, then of course it feels like impeding. So that one takes self-analysis before we try to fix the behavior, before we try to fix the external, which there's still some really cool external tips we're going to give you. Is there an insecurity deep in your heart? Do you feel like you're impeding? What's going on? Are you afraid of rejection? Are you afraid of getting hurt? Are you afraid of getting close to people? What's going on? It might take days, weeks, months to figure it out. Years. Do it with God though. I want you to talk about the 3-2-1. Explain it a little more, because I think that would have changed my life too. That's really cool.
Okay, so, ever since I was younger, like, I think somebody said this one time, and then it just stuck with me, and it's like, now we call it like 3-2-1, and we talked to our girls in Gainesville about it when we had our groups in real life. And it's just the idea for the ones who struggle at sending text messages or struggle in groups of people, and you go to like a college event or a school event or wherever, and you just have your bombarding intrusive thoughts of this or this or this. The best thing you could do is just really take us up on this 3-2-1 and go up to the person and say hi. Because, like, it's that cringy. Listen, we can't avoid the nerves, okay? No. I'm extremely outgoing. I still have nerves and all of those things. The best thing I can do is just do this horrible thing to myself where I go 3-2-1. Hi, I'm Sarah. It's just the first, like, 4 words that are really cringy. You're like, it's going to sound so unnatural. But 3-2-1 in a lot of things in life is going to really get us to get used to things, because what happens is either freedom is winning or fear is winning. Fear will win if instead of talking to the person, you just don't talk to them. So now fear won at that event, like, because you listened to fear. Or you can decide if freedom's going to win at that event, where you say 3-2-1 and you feel free to do something regardless of what the consequences were. So it's always a fight between fear or freedom. Everywhere you go, in who you talk to. Or you can listen to fear, which is always rooted to lies. The lie that they're not going to want to talk for long, whatever. Fine, listen to it. But then fear's winning that night. Or you can listen to freedom, which is like, regardless of what they do, hey, I want to be free, not caring what they think. I want to be free and do what I wanted to do. That's freedom. So it's constant battle. That's how it kind of works in my mind. What am I going to let win today?
And it's easy to be a victim in things like this.
Yeah, for sure.
This is what we told our girls in Gainesville. Yes, there are things like, oh, well, this person just didn't want to talk to me. Or, oh, if only people did this for me. Or, oh, only if someone came up to me at those events. Oh, if only somebody asked me to hang. There's always like a way that you can place blame on somebody else for this problem.
A lot of people do it nowadays.
It's so common, but unfortunately, that is going to make you zero progress in your deep friendship, so there is no point in doing it. Yes, analyze like a normal person, but if you're not going to take personal responsibility for what you could be doing better to be pursuing the deep friendships, you're not going to get anywhere. And we want you to be a leader. Think of yourself as a leader in your friend groups. And that comes with the personal worth and your value and your security. Like, you get to choose. Don't wait for people to reach out to you. Don't wait for people to text you first. Take on the role of a leader and say, I make the hangouts happen. I make the friendships happen. I talk to people first. People will put an effort back. I'm not saying just pursue pointlessly, but if you're struggling with this, you probably have taken a back seat in a lot of your friendships and are expecting people to drive for you. And now it's time for you to step on the gas.
For you to step on the gas.
Also, where are you spending your time with your friends that it's not getting deep? Are you constantly doing things that is not going to be an environment that fosters deep friendships? For example,
like alcohol and
are you guys constantly going to parties? Because then it makes sense why the environment's not going to cultivate deep. Are you constantly in huge groups of people? Big groups of people hangouts is good, but
and I have another one as well. My friendship circles tend to be awesome, and glory to God always, but I'll tell you what I do. We have awesome times and deep conversations, and sometimes it's because ever since I was young, I noticed people keep it superficial until you change it up and add something deep.
That's good.
And if I was to tell you a personal Sarah tip, it would be the one to pivot it. Like, most people don't make things deep, and you might be believing like maybe they don't want to talk about it, but like I'll be the first one to ask, like, what's your biggest dream? What do you think God's trying to teach you? And you just ask these deep questions, and it goes from you guys just talking about like silly things, boys and makeup and hair. Yeah, all these things that is totally fun, but after 15 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm out. I'm checking out in my head. I want to make it deep and intentional. So also, you totally have permission to change the tide, because now that I say it, you'll probably start to notice just the majority of people that kind of are fine with doing that superficial talk until you change it, until you become a leader and you just shift it a bit. And people are just so blessed by having a moment in a group where it goes deep for a moment, It's so beautiful after that. But it takes one person changing that.
That's a perfect example of the leader thing.
Yeah.
And don't believe the lie that you're too shy or you're just not that type of person to ask those questions.
Yeah.
It's not about you and who you are. Put yourself aside and ask those questions. 3, 2, 1 it. And that is such a good tip. If you apply that, you're already on your way to getting deeper friendships, because you're not just staying at the surface in all of your conversations.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Then also, I want to give you a little plan now that you've watched this video, like a good plan that you could stick to. And the first thing I would tell you is, like, you can't just watch a video, and I really wish I could, but like, Kaitlyn didn't get a magical pill to just become more secure in these things. She's still practicing in different ways. In this, like she is. And so in the same way, there is no pill for you. The best thing we can do is embrace this journey we're on, okay? Because you are made for the reasons that you were made. You were made to relate to people like you. You were made for the spaces and places that God put you in. So this is not something we want to change in spite of something. This is something we want to say, God, why'd you make me like this? And then in the places where I'm fearful, how can I adjust? But I'll just say the biggest thing that I would advise you to like work on is your energy in general. Meaning, like, no matter how much you apply these tips, if you have annoying energy, meaning like you're just negative. Yeah, like if you're negative all the time, or if you're just constantly complaining, or if everything that you see, like you go to the negative side of it, for me, that's annoying. I would say this is the biggest thing. It's like, you will never come across desperate if you're happy with your life right now. Because if you're happy with your life right now, then you're not desperate. You're not relying on somebody to text you back and they're the answer to your happiness. You're so content in what the Lord is doing in your life. You're even content that you figured out that you have a little insecurity and God's going to show you. Okay, so I don't know. That just really comes to mind with me. To me, it's like no matter how many tips, if we don't fix
what's on your heart.
Yeah, what's on your heart and your personality in a sense. Well, then you might be never being attractive as a friend in general, because I don't really want to be friends with an annoying person. Like really close, that sounds mean. I'm gonna love you, but like close friends, I mean, that gets hard over time. Yeah, I don't really want to be close with a negative person because that's hard over time. Well, if I was a good friend, the best thing I would let them know is, hey, you really do this and it's kind of draining me. I would do that as a friend. I wouldn't just leave you. But you can't count on everybody to do that for you. So I just want to spit that out there as your best friends who keep it real, that we want you to have tools for successful life. Also, just observe how your life is looking and how you view your life. Because the way that you view your life is how you're going to speak. And then how you're going to speak is going to tell people who you are and how you live, right? So we want to just observe how we're looking at life. Because if you're a victim, or if you see yourselves as these things and everything's unfair, you're either A, going to attract people just like that, which I don't know if you want that, or we're going to have to adjust and ask God, bring us the joy and the gratefulness of the Lord, and let me be a secure person so that I can, finally start adding value to other people, and then having my friend group come into my life, God, as I pray and love you.
Yep, that's honestly so true.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter like what tips we give. If you're on your heart is just negativity and pessimism, you're just no one's gonna want to hang around for long. And that's God's will for no one, for them to be negative like that. That's a personality thing we can say that yes, you can change, because that is not something you're just born with.
Yeah.
God can change that in you. And the only other thing I'll say is just don't get discouraged. It's a practice. Just like you were talking about, I can't just take a magic pill and then fix all my problems.
No.
We mentioned so many things in this video because this problem, surprisingly, problems are deep and they have so much more going on than just do X, Y, and Z. So every opportunity that you have to practice what you heard in this video, to practice finding your worth in how God sees you, to practice seeing yourself as valuable and wanted by people, take it and run with it. Don't beat yourself up for the times that you're not being perfect now after you watch this video. It's a process, and in a few years, you will see the fruits pay off if you are taking the time to diligently apply. Don't just hear, and pray for God to put good people in your life. Because also we could be talking to people who are trying to make this work with people who aren't even good for them, or people who are negative themselves, or people who aren't going to love them properly, not perfectly. Pray, because that is something that we can't just like bring you from a tip. That's something that is a gift from God as a good friend. So
yeah, that we said in the beginning, it takes effort, right? So now it's the time where you decide if you want to fight for it or not. I can't fight for you to have good friends. I can't fight for you to want to see the things in your life. This is what we're talking about now. You've been charged, you've been given tools, and now's the part where it takes effort. If I had a thing like this, I would watch this video and then start fighting and start using the tips. Because every supernatural blessing and result comes from the effort we put in. Yeah. So you got this. And we have already prayed in the beginning of the video, guys. So you have what you need, because if you have God, you have everything. So we love you so much. Does that conclude the video?
It does. Subscribe, please, if you've watched to this point, and give this video a like, especially if you're at this point.
Yes, please do. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.